Welcome back to the channel, decoders, and hope everyone is well today. I believe today is Tuesday, right? March 4th, 2025. And got a lot to talk about here, as usual. But let me see. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. I guess Coffee Girl gave a thumbs up. So I guess we're working. Thank you, Coffee Girl. All right. So appreciate that. Hello to Flat Russ. Hello to XX. Hello to Void Walker. Hello to Coffee Girl. Juan Francis. Jose Hernandez. Hope you guys are all well. So yeah, let's give it a couple minutes and then we'll jump into the stream. This is going to be a doozy. Okay, this is going to be a doozy. I mean, some of the stuff that I discovered in this stream, yeah, it blew my mind. Okay, so we're going to talk about Pope Francis. As a matter of fact, let's check an update on Pope Francis. See what they're saying he's at right now. Yeah, breaking news right here. Pope Francis Health Vatican issues Tuesday evening update. Pope Francis is stable, no respiratory issues on Tuesday. He had some yesterday, though. So, yeah, you guys know the news right now. Pope Francis, the Jesuit Pope, the first Jesuit Pope, lives in Suite 201 at the Vatican. His name equals 201, the Jesuit Order 201. He lives in the Domus Sanctae Marktae, which equals 201. One of the biggest and clearest riddles in all of modern day riddles, with the number 201 and Pope Francis. Now, remember, the Pope is essentially a descendant of the Pontifex Maximus. And yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to what that is, but first, let's just show you the chain of events that have led to this and why the bridge collapses are connected to the bridge builder, the Pope, Pontifex, right? Because again, Pontifex Maximus means the greatest bridge builder. So with the eclipse coming up, with the blood moon coming up, we have this, decode your reality or our reality. I'm going to talk about the number 37 here. You're talking about March 7th, which is written 37. So I'm going to talk about 37. It's going to be a big number in this decode. But before I even get to that, let's just talk about the Pope's last post on Instagram. Do you guys remember when I did a post for you guys in early February and I told you that Pope Francis is going to turn 32200 days old on February 12th, 2025? And then right after that, he went into the hospital, man. Like, he turns 322 on February 12th, and then he goes into the hospital 2 days later, okay? And he posted his last Instagram post. He posted his last Instagram post on the day he turned 32200 days old. And that was the day of the year that leaves 322 in the year. That's when he posted his last post. And then 2 days later, he goes into the hospital, okay? And the 322 is the number of the Skull and Bones Brotherhood of Death, okay? So how crazy is that? Think about that, guys. How much more obvious does that get? The guy literally turns 322 days old on the day leaving 322, and he makes his last post on Instagram, and 2 days later he goes into the hospital. Okay? But it gets way deeper than this, guys. This is just the teaser, okay? This is just the beginning. I want to give a big shout out to this channel right here, 7154. He is a big inspiration for this decode about the Golden Gate Bridge and Pope Francis. This channel decodes the eventual attack of the Golden Gate Bridge. And he has a book about the eventual attack on the Golden Gate Bridge by North Korea. So go check out his channel. I wanted to give him a shout out because this guy is one guy who, inspired this decode. So big shout out to him, 71554 on YouTube. Go check him out. But let's just dive into it. I mean, this is just wildness, guys. And as we go through, it's just going to get more and more wild. Just going to get more and more wild. So here's Pope Francis' last post, hugging this girl on Instagram. And he posted, "Let us ask the Lord to make our hearts humble and receptive." And why is that just funny? Because he mentions hearts. And when did Pope Francis go into the hospital 2 days later? It was on Valentine's Day. So his last post on Instagram mentions hearts. And hearts are associated with Valentine's Day. And he goes into his last post, literally tells us about hearts. Okay. Now, Pope Francis equals 122. This is a huge Pope Francis number. Okay. 122. If you take the Pope's headline on his Instagram, right? It says this: "I want to walk with you along the way of God's mercy and tenderness." That's the quote that he has posted to his Instagram. If you take that whole sentence and you type it in the gematria calculator, "I want to walk with you along the way of God's mercy and tenderness," it equals 673. Sorry, guys, I need to move this bridge collapse thing here. Hold on. It says, "I want to walk with you along the way of God's mercy and tenderness." That equals 673. Guys, 673 is the 122nd prime number. So Pope Francis equals 122. He posted his last Instagram post on 12/2/122, and his headline on his Instagram, the sentence, sums to the 122 prime number. I mean, wow. Think about that. In the same cipher, guys, in ordinal, Pope Francis equals 122. His headline on his Instagram sums to the 122 prime number. Okay? And again, don't discount that this all happened on the day he turned 32200, and it was the day of the year that leaves 322 days in the year, okay? But it gets even more wild, because how does this connect to the bridge that connects to him so clearly, okay? The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, where San Francisco gets the name from St. Francis of Assisi. Pope Francis gets his name from St. Francis of Assisi. Okay. Well, what does Pope Francis equal? It equals 122. What does San Francisco equal? It equals 122. Whoops. Where is San Francisco located? Yeah, I'm getting to that. I saw Decoding Our Reality already mentioned this. Where is San Francisco located? It's located at 37 degrees north and 122 degrees west. San Francisco, 122. Pope Francis, 122. In Bacon simple gematria, which is the Francis Bacon old cipher, bridge collapse equals 122. Okay? Pope Francis' sentence on his Instagram sums to the 122 prime. Now, guys, I want you guys to understand what I'm about ready to show you, okay? Pay attention for this. This is where you should hit the like button right here. And this is this is the find that I received from this guy, 7154. But what's the last post that Pope Francis posted? It's the 1933rd post. The 1933 post. Okay, pause for a minute. When did the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge start? Construction of the Golden Gate Bridge began on January 5th, 1933. The last post on his Skull and Bones Day where he was 322 days old on Instagram, was his 1933 post. That's the year the bridge began to be built. What does pontiff mean? It means bridge builder. His pontiff, Maximus, literally means bridge builder. The year that he posted 1933. His 1933 post is the year the bridge began to be built. His name means bridge builder. Okay? And again, his headline for his Instagram equals 122 prime, which is his name, which is San Francisco, which is the coordinates of San Francisco. Yeah, in 1933, I've already talked about that, fading the public. What did I talk about before the Super Bowl this year? 1933 was the year of the gold confiscation in 1933. Golden Gate Bridge, the gold confiscation, right? So, again, here's the thing here. The Pope is the Pontifex, right? Which comes from the Latin meaning bridge builder. Okay? Pons means bridge. Farce means to make or build. So his name Pontifex means bridge builder. San Francisco is located at the 122. San Francisco 122. Pope Francis 122. So Pope Francis went into the hospital on February 14th, Valentine's Day, the 45th day of the year. Bridge equals 45. Golden Gate equals 45 in two ciphers. So think about that. Bridge equals 45, and Golden Gate has a double gematria of 45. The Pope went in the hospital on the 45th day of the year. Bridge, 45. His name, Pontifex, means bridge builder. His last post was 1933, which is the year the Golden Gate Bridge began to be built. So with the blood moon coming up, you guys have to understand that the blood moon is super connected to San Francisco because the San Francisco basketball team star player is born on Pi Day. But let's read this. Pope hospitalized at 88 years old, 3 months and 14 days before the 88th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge opening. On 3/14, the blood moon, Pope Francis will be 88 years and 88 days old. Let me read it one more time so it sinks in. Pope hospitalized on the 88th day of the year, Pope hospitalized at 88 years old, 3 months and 14 days before the 88th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge. And on 3/14, the blood moon, Pope Francis will be 88 years and 88 days old. Okay? So think about that. He's 88 years and 88 days old on the Pi Day, and he was hospitalized Pi days, months and days before the 88th anniversary of the opening of the bridge. Okay, and I just told you he went in the hospital on the 45th day of the year. Bridge equals 45. Golden Gate equals 45. Now, the star basketball player for the basketball team from Golden State, San Francisco, is Steph Curry. Guys, Steph Curry's born on March 14th in 88. The Pope will be 88 years and 88 days old on his birthday. He was born in 88 on March 14th. He plays for San Francisco. He has the bridge right on his dang. It's not the Golden Gate Bridge. It's actually the Bay Bridge, but he has a bridge right on his thing there. He's the star player of the bridge team. He's born in 88 on Pi Day, and the Pope just happens, the bridge builder Pope just happens to be 88 years and 88 days old on the blood moon on his birthday. Okay, and again, he was hospitalized 3 months, 14 days before the 88th anniversary of the bridge opening. Yeah, there's way more to this Mr. S, the 37 I see you're mentioning. He turns 37. Just wait till you see how big this 37 is. But you guys are going to be blown away by what I have at the end of this decode. This might be one of my wildest finds I've ever found, and that's saying something. So Steph Curry, the guy born in 88 on Pi Day, he will be turning 37 years old on the blood moon. First of all, his full name, Wardell Stephen Curry II, equals 122, like Pope Francis equals 122, like San Francisco equals 122. San Francisco is located at the 122nd meridian west. But San Francisco is also located at the 37 meridian north. Do you guys get it? His name equals 122, and he's about to turn 37 years old on Pi Day. And the San Francisco is located at 37 degrees, 122 degrees. He's going to turn 37, guys. 37 degrees. And that just should remind you of all the other 122s. San Francisco, Pope Francis, 122. I don't know why I put this in here again, but that's just a reminder. But here's where it gets crazy, guys. There's a system called base 8 counting, which means instead of using a base 10 system like we normally use, everything is based off of 8s. So let's convert the number 37 into base 8. Remember, this is all about the 8s. Pope Francis will turn 88 years and 88 days old on Steph Curry's birthday, and Steph Curry was born in 88. The Golden Gate Bridge will turn 88 years old this year, the opening of it. So if we take 37 and we convert it from base 10 to base 8, what does it become? The number 45 in base 8 isn't 45 as we normally read it. Instead, it's 4 times 8 plus 5 times 1. This is because base 8 uses the power of 8s. That gives you 4 times 8 is 32, 5 times 1 is 5. That means that in base 10, 37 in base 10 becomes 45 in base 8. Oh, yeah. Widow's Sons reminded me the Golden Gate Bridge opened in 1937. Okay. So he's turning 37. The bridge opened in 37. It's located at 37 degrees north. Steph Curry turns 37. And if you convert 37 into base 8, it's 45. And what's 45, guys? It's bridge. It's bridge, 45. So 37 converts to 45 in base 8, which is why I'm using the 8s, because it's all about the 8s, guys. 88 years, 88 days, born in 88. So because the 37 converts to 45 and bridge equals 45, Golden Gate equals 45, we now have to go, this is the crazy one. So me and Sean, Widow's son, who's in the chat right now, we've been talking about this, and this is where it's going to start getting wild. So pay attention to this one. The 37th governor of the state of California was Gray Davis. Remember, we're talking about Steph Curry's 37th birthday, the blood moon. The Golden Gate located on the 37th north, and yeah, all the 37s we just mentioned. The 37th governor was Gray Davis. While Gray Davis was the governor of California, November 2nd, 2001, there was a movie release called Monsters, Inc. The same day that Monsters, Inc. released, there was a threat on the Golden Gate Bridge. California governor says bridges are threatened. Citing credible terrorist threats, California Governor Gray Davis ordered security increased on 4 major bridges in his state, including the national landmark Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. So while he was the 37th governor, the bridge that opened in 37 had a threat. The same day that Monsters, Inc. came out. Now, in Monsters, Inc., there was also a threat. And the number of the threat in Monsters, Inc. is called a 2319. We've got a 2319. If you measure from the Golden Gate Bridge threat and the Monsters, Inc. release on 11/2/2001, to the Pi Day eclipse where Stephen Curry turns 37 years old. It's 23 years and 19 days, guys. We got a 23-19. We got a 23-19. I'm just letting that soak in for a second. The same day as the 23-19 emergency movie release, there was a threat on the Golden Gate. And now I'm measuring to the Golden Gate guy's birthday, his 37th. Yeah, that's what I meant. 23 years, 19 weeks exactly. We got a 23-19. 23 years, 19 weeks exactly after 23-19. That's what I have here. I just read it wrong. But come on, guys, let me see some reactions. What do you guys think about that? Is that a coincidence? Is that a coincidence that Steph Curry, the guy with the bridge on his uniform, turns 37 years old on the blood moon, and the 37th governor of California was the governor during the threat on the Golden Gate Bridge where the movie was released on the same day, and from that to this birthday is 23-19, 23 years, 19 weeks. So don't forget about Gray Davis because he's important to the rest of this puzzle. He's the 37th governor of California. It's important. So I started looking back at the Golden State Warriors' last games because if there's going to be some sort of connection to Pope Francis or the Golden Gate Bridge, I started looking back at the most recent Golden State Warriors basketball games. Guys, on Wednesday, February 26th, the Golden State Warriors scored 128 points. This was the 11-month anniversary of the 128 bridge collapse in the Francis Scott Key in Maryland. Think about that. On the 11-month anniversary of the 128 bridge collapse, the Golden State Warriors, with the bridge on their logo, scored 128 points on February 26th. What else happened on February 26th? In 1993, the World Trade Center bombing was on February 26th. This year on February 26th, we had that very big death of Michelle Trachtenberg. The same day, the Warriors scored 128 points. And again, this was on the 11th month anniversary of the bridge collapse at 128 on the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And remember, the girl that died on this day, the same day they scored this, was the key. Was that the 92nd anniversary of the groundbreaking ceremony too? Wow. So Widow's son just told me it was the 92nd anniversary of the groundbreaking. The other team that they played against scored 92, guys. Hold on, let me look that up just so people can see it. Groundbreaking ceremony, Golden Gate. Guys, February 26th, 1933. Whoa, what did I do? Guys, that was the 92nd anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge groundbreaking ceremony. On that day, the Golden State Warriors scored 128 points like bridge collapse. The team they played scored 92. It was the 92nd anniversary. Guys, come on. And what I'm about ready to show you is going to make this even more crazy. Because wait till I'm about ready to show you this. So I didn't even have that in my find. So that makes it even bigger what we just found there. But this is going to get even bigger. So I decided to look back on all the times the Warriors from Golden State scored 128 points in their games. Now, the Golden State Warriors started their franchise in Philadelphia. They moved to San Francisco And the first time they scored 128 points in San Francisco was on 2/26/63. Come on. Where's the mind blowns in this chat, guys? I just told you that on 2/26 this year, they scored 128-92. That was the 92nd anniversary of the 2/26 opening ceremony. And then the first time they scored 128 points as a member of San Francisco was on the same date, 2/26/1963. The San Francisco Warriors dominated the Boston Celtics 128-112 on February 26, 1963. Okay, get ready for it. Hold your horses. This one. This is the most. All right. So here it is. The Golden State or the San Francisco Warriors scored 128 points. Again, why is 128 so important? Because 128 is bridge collapse, okay? Bridge collapse, 128. That's why that's important. Just reiterating that. They scored 128 points on 2/26/63. Exactly 62 years later, this year, they scored 128 points again. On the 92nd anniversary, on the same day of the opening ceremony. Guys, when they scored 128 points for the first time in San Francisco, Pope Francis was 314 months and 10 days old. Pi. Let me state that again. The first time they scored 128 points, like bridge collapse, the Pope was 314 months and 10 days, 3141, the first four digits of pi. If you measure from the day they scored, the first time in San Francisco, they scored 128 points, February 26, 63, and you measure to the blood moon, the birthday of Pi Day of Stephen Curry, it's 2/26/63 days. I think you guys see what I'm pointing out here. The date that they scored 128 points, 2/26/63, is the amount of days between that day and the blood moon. 2/26/63 days, guys. That is my biggest find ever. Like, I'm sorry. That's the date in the exact order that they scored this. And they did it again this year on the same day they scored 128. We just had a bridge collapse last year at 128, the Francis Scott Key. They scored this on the 11th month anniversary, the 92nd anniversary of the opening of the bridge. I mean, it's just too much. And look how many days the blood moon is going to be from the California governor, the 37th governor of California, who was governor during the threat on the Golden Gate Bridge in 2001. Look how many days the blood moon is after he took office as the governor, guys. 314 months and 10 days. That's the same age that Pope Francis was when they scored 128 the first time in 1963. What is the chance of that? This guy is from the time he took office as the 37th governor to the blood moon is 314 months and 10 days. Pope Francis was 314 months and 10 days on this game here, which I just measured from here to here, and this is the 37th birthday of Stephen Curry, who wears the bridge. So it's like, what? I know I get too excited, guys, but this is mind-blowing stuff, man. I never measured from a date and got that exact same date when I'm measuring. Like, what's that, man? Just imagine my surprise when I'm measuring from 2/26/63 to the date I'm looking for, and I get the day 2/26/63. Like, just imagine my reaction when I do that. And then I find out that the California governor took off his 314 months and 10 days before 314 blood moon. And that's how old Pope Francis was on this day. And then Widow's son just told us that the Golden State Warriors scored 128 points on February 26th. And that was on the 92nd anniversary of the ceremony of the opening of the Golden Gate. And the other team scored 92. And look at the record of the Hornets, 14 and 43. That's like the digits of pi. And how about this, guys? Not only did I tell you that the governor took off his 314 10 months before the blood moon, and Pope Francis was 314 10 months on this game. Look how many days they were. Look how many the measurement of these two guys being born apart. Pope Francis was born 314 weeks and 3 days before the governor. So another 314. And we're talking about the date 314 pi. The birthday just happens to be the birthday of the most famous player for the Golden Gate Bridge team. You know? Oh man, like this slide I'm just going to keep up so you guys can, I'm going to go out of here, but I'll keep this up so we can just, and thank you so much to Sean, Widow's son, for bringing this up. And guys, the Golden Gate Bridge, the construction started on January 5th, 33. When did Pope Francis open up his fifth and final portal this year? On January 5th, he opened up the fifth and final portal. Holy crap. That's Steph Curry's number, man. He wears number 30. Look at this. Steph Curry wears the number 30. You see that on his jersey right there. The number 30 with the circle, like pi is the mathematics of a circle. 30. Steph Curry wears 30, right? From the opening ceremony of the Golden Gate Bridge in 1933, 226, to the game they scored 128, 226, 1963 was 30 years. And just like Widow's son said, that's 360 months. That's full circle. We're talking about the mathematics of a circle here, pi. Man, I wish I would have known this. I should have asked you, Sean. I should have showed this to you because you would have probably found that. You would have probably found that before, and I could have added that in here. I just didn't want to write it all out because it was so much to type out, but man. But remember, Pope Francis opened up a portal, the fifth and final portal, on the 5th of January this year. The Golden Gate Bridge construction started on 1/5. So that was 92 years. That was 92 years. The Pope opened the fifth and final portal 92 years after the construction began on the Golden Gate Bridge. And remember, the team they scored 128 against, they scored 92. That was why I couldn't figure out why the 92 was there, but now we know. Yeah, and Steph Curry just won the golden medal for the Olympic team was 216 days before Pi Day, yeah. But yeah, I mean, guys, please like and share this video. I've got 95 likes. I have 200 people watching, guys. I'm not trying to be an a-hole, but I have 200 people watching. And this video at least deserves a like because some of my videos, maybe they're crap, right? And some of them are not the greatest, but This video is like so crazy, man. Like 22663, like this slide alone should blow your mind. So please hit those like buttons if you like the content. If you don't like it, then you don't have to hit the like button. But if you guys like, and I wish more people would see this because this is crazy. I hope that this guy 7154, he's all about the Golden Gate Bridge. I hope that he sees this, because I don't know if he's seen these connections yet, but hopefully he sees this video. I might have to tag him in this or something, because you guys got to watch his videos. He was the one that, and remember, Pope Francis just posted his 1933 post on Instagram, and his sentence on his Instagram sums to 122 prime, right? Which is San Francisco bridge collapse, Pope Francis, all 122. His last post was on 122 or 12-2, right? Like 122. And you know what? There's a huge mercury connection here that I don't even know if I want to get into. But like if you go to Pope Francis' Instagram and you decode his post that he posted, his last post, it actually equals the 103rd prime, and mercury equals 103 in that same cipher. And there's a huge mercury connection, but I'm not going to get into it. So let's go. Let's overview. Let's overview all this. Again, if you guys missed, go back and watch. But the most important thing is here, we're talking about Pi Day. And I'm not saying the bridge is going to collapse on Pi Day, but maybe Pope Francis does actually go that day. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes earlier too, to be honest. But considering he'll be 88 days old. But actually, you know, while we're here, I'm going to give you guys some extra finds because I kind of want to go over this. I want to show you guys how important this blood moon is. Okay, so we're going to get off the bridge topic, but we're going to keep talking about the blood moon. So remember, in my last stream, I told you guys that last year Trump received vials of blood at the Republican National Committee on May 22nd, 5/22. That was the same day that this guy in wrestling got covered in a bloodbath. Okay, and we're talking about a blood moon. And from that day of the bloodbath and the blood vials sent to Trump to the blood moon is 296 days. Blood moon equals 296. Okay. Now, we found out in the last stream that Angie Stone died in a car accident just days before the blood moon. And her full name equals 296, you know, just like it was 296 days from the blood day to the blood moon. And blood moon equals 296. Angie Stone's full name equals 296. She died in a car crash, which equals 296. And blood moon equals 226 or 296. Then we found out in the last stream that if you go from Angie Stone's Full Circle album, again, we're talking about Full Circle, pi, the mathematics of a circle. If you go from her Full Circle album to the blood moon, it's exactly 296 weeks. Again, her name equals 296, blood moon equals 296. If you go from her other album called Covered in Soul to the blood moon, it's 3143 days. Guys, it's the date forwards and backwards. 314 or 413. From her Covered in Soul album to the blood moon, 3143. So perfectly synced up with this, 296 weeks after Full Circle, which is blood moon, 3143, which is pi forward and backwards, pi day forward and backwards, to the blood moon from her Covered in Soul. And from her most recent album, Love Language, to the blood moon is exactly 666 days. So let's count them here. A perfect amount of days from the blood day last year where Trump received vials, 296 days. A perfect amount of weeks after Angie Stone, who just died, her album called Full Circle, 296 weeks exactly, like her name and blood moon equal 296. It's the pi from her Covered in Soul album, 3143 from her Covered in Soul album to 314. 666 days from her latest album on May 19th, 2023 to the blood moon, 666, guys. And this is crazy because Angie Stone died the same day that The Rock was whipping Cody with a soul belt. Okay, just it's so obvious here. The Rock was whipping Cody with a belt that says Cody's soul, and Angie Stone, like a rock, dies, and she had an album called Covered in Soul. Cody was getting whipped the same day she died with a Cody Soul belt. Stone, Angie Stone, The Rock. Cody's belt has June 11th, 2015 on it. That's the death date of Cody's dad, and that's why he has a tattoo of a dream on his chest. Dream is another album by Angie Stone. Do you guys get it? Angie Stone dies on Cody's Soul Day, gets ripped by The Rock. He has a tattoo called Dream. She has an album called Dream. And guess when her album Dream came out? 2015, on November 6th. Well, Cody's dad, the Dream, Dusty Rhodes, died on June 11th. Guys, June 11th is the same type of date as the date she released Dream. Think about that. Cody's dad, Dream, died 11/6, June 11th, 2015. His name, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, equals 296. Angela Stone's name equals 296. Cody Rhodes equals 116. And the same year that Cody's dad, Dream, died, she releases an album called Dream. And Cody's got the dream. And the same day he's getting whipped, she dies. These are undeniable connections. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you think these are undeniable connections. What are the chances she has an album called Dream, and she released it on 11/6, 2015, and his dad, Dream, died on 6/11, 2015. The American Dream equals 296, like her name. And again, that was a huge number I just showed you. But how about this? Let's talk about the 9/11 connections. Thank you guys for the thumbs up. From Dusty Rhodes' death to the beating and the death of Angela Stone was 116 months and 19 days. The 116, the upside down and inverted 9/11. But from Angie Stone's album, Dream, to the beating of Cody and the death of Angie Stone was 9 years, 11/16. Or 116, guys. Yeah, this all connects, guys. The bridge and the broken dream. Yeah, that's right. This all connects, guys. The bridge and the broken dream was the bridge collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The Dali painting was called The Bridge and the Broken Dream. So the dream, Dusty Rhodes, again, from Angie Stone's Dream album to the day that he got whipped was 9/11/116. Cody Rhodes equals 116. And don't forget, Angie Stone was not the only death connected to this blood moon. Blood moon equals 39, 138. And remember, Michelle Trachtenberg, she was born 17 days before a blood moon. She died 17 days before a blood moon. She was 39 years, 138 days old on her death. That's the gematria of blood moon. And from the blood moon 17 days after her birth to the blood moon 17 days after her death is 39 years, 138 days, which again is the gematria of blood moon. And don't forget, Michelle Trachtenberg was completely tied to Cody Rhodes as well, because Michelle Trachtenberg, when she was born in 1985, Cody Rhodes was born in 1985. Cody Rhodes' mom name was Michelle. Michelle Trachtenberg was found by her mom. And Michelle Trachtenberg has the same birthday as Cody's father, the Dream Dusty Rhodes. So I just wanted you guys to put all that together. Between Angie Stone, her connection to Cody Rhodes and his father, and Michelle Trachtenberg and her connection to Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes was bleeding, right? He was bleeding on the mat over the blood moon date, which I already showed, right? So it all comes together. But remember, the bridge collapse last year, the bridge and the broken dream, oh, look at that, guys. It always just gets better, man. It always gets better. The bridge and the broken dream equals 128. Let me just show you. This all connects, guys. Everything is connected. Oh, by the way, St. Francis of Assisi's real name equals 296, like the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. So there's another one for you. We're talking about Pope Francis, who gets his name from this guy. This is the real name of St. Francis of Assisi, which equals 296 in the same cipher as the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. But look at the painting by Salvador Dali, The Broken Bridge and the Dream. I see. The Broken Bridge and the Dream equals 128, guys. I just did a whole decode on the dream and the... I didn't even know these were going to connect. I didn't even see it until now. But yeah, I just did a whole video about how the number 128 was connected to the bridge collapses. And now we have the dream connection with Cody Rhodes. And remember, when the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed, it was connected to the painting, the broken bridge and the dream, which equals 128. Now, why is this important? Because Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, he was born in 1945, right here, October 11, 1945. When was the painting, Salvador Dali's painting, The Bridge and the Broken Dream? 1945. So it came out the same year that Dusty Rhodes was born. And we're talking about Dusty Rhodes. We're talking about bridge collapses. Like, it all fits perfect, man. It all fits perfect. All right, so yeah, I think we'll go to the we'll go to the comments now and see what you guys have to say. Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about blackouts too, and that's what my girlfriend's saying. The blackout comes probably before XRP is installed. Yeah. People are talking about XRP.